Welcome to the DisneyDose.com video podcast. Today we interview Daniel Orlandi, the costume designer for Saving Mr. Banks. See photos and videos of the costumes on YouTube. Did you have a connection to Disney and Mary Poppins before making the movie?
When it first came out, when I was a little boy. It's maybe one of the first movies I'd ever seen. So it goes back a long time.
How did that help you working on Saving Mr. Banks?
Well, I mean, I knew the Disney, legacy. I've certainly seen all the animation, seen most of the Disney movies. And I did not grow up in Southern California, so I went to Disneyland as an adult for the first time.
Interesting. Well, working on Saving Mr. Banks, it's mainly set in the 1960s.
Yes.
Is it harder or easier because there are still people alive from the 60s?
No, that's easy, isn't it? You can ask them questions.
It's not hard because there's people who know what it's like?
Yeah.
So that did help you?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely. There is a website, and I can't remember the name of it, where people post their pictures from Disneyland. And there were all the pictures from 1961 that we looked at, and it was great research. We also had Richard Sherman around while we were shooting all of it. So he was a great person to ask questions about Walt and the office and how they dressed.
Richard Sherman's a great guy. It's kind of funny how he's a character and a consultant on the movie. Was that helpful as well?
Yeah, really helpful. I think it certainly was helpful to Jason, who was playing him, and BJ, who was playing his brother.
I know that Diane Disney and the Walt Disney Family Museum here in San Francisco helped a lot with Tom Hanks. How'd they help you?
Yes, they lent us his Oscars, and they went back into the vault every night. They had an armed guard there.
Wow, that's great attention to detail. Is there anything else they lent the film?
Yeah, a lot of his office was filled with his books and many of his original pieces that he collected.
Diane Disney just passed away.
I know.
Did you work with her at all?
I did not, but Tom spent a lot of time with her, and she was instrumental, and the museum was very helpful to us.
Love the Walt Disney Family Museum and the work that they do. We're sitting here in beautiful Palm Desert, California, really near to Smoke Tree Ranch. There's a piece of Smoke Tree Ranch in the movie on Walt Disney's tie.
Yes.
I absolutely love that connection.
Oh, me too.
It seems like you really caught the details in this film, not just Disney, but some others.
Yeah, we want to have all those details. I don't think they ever featured it, but his tie clip had a little train on it. Because he was such a train enthusiast, even though that probably he didn't wear one, but it was just like a nice touch to make Tom feel, and his little handkerchief with the W.
Standing for Walt.
Yeah, first name basis.
I love the way that they explain Walt's use of first names in the movie, and now that's used that way at Disneyland.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the way he ran the studio.
Is there anything else we should look for in the film, like the tie or the stitched W?
Yeah, there are a lot of touches, but maybe not Disney touches. Emma Thompson's character wears her father's ring throughout the movie, so it's a nice connection between the two periods. It's a nice juxtaposition from her horse to the carousel horse, from the carousel and the fair in 1906 to Disneyland, in 1961. So it's a nice circle.
Let's talk a little bit about filming in Disney.
Yes.
And recreating the 60s park.
Yes. We had to recreate all of the Disney characters from 1961 for the premiere and for Disneyland in 1961.
Were any of the characters pre-existing at all?
No, none. So that was a really beautiful archaeological project for us to figure out the Disney and looking at them. And then, of course, when you're doing something like that, Disneyland people have to become very involved and approve you every step of the way as you're making.
Was it 2 years ago now that you were filming in the parks?
No, a year ago.
Was it around last February?
No, it was last... It was we got to shoot at Disneyland and 2 days, and it was the days when they take down Halloween and they postponed putting up Christmas for us.
It was almost exactly a year ago then.
Yeah, a little more than a year. I think it was end of October November. It was election day, November, beginning of November.
The first time we really saw anything from Saving Mr. Banks was right around then.
Oh, the fan photos, yeah. It was the first day was so much fun because a lot of the crew members, their families came to be fit in their 61 costumes. So walking around, all of their crew members' families and kids were there, being the kids running through the park. And it was really a really fun day. And a lot of the crew members would come up and say, "Oh my God, it's just like the first time I went to Disneyland with my parents."
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so it was really fun. And we started dressing the extras around 2 a.m. because the minute the sun came up, we had to be shooting. So we wanted to shoot as much before the park opened because Disneyland doesn't close for anybody.
How did you shoot the limo scene where P.L. Travers is coming into the park to meet Walt?
We shot that before the park opened. That was the second day.
And everyone in the scene were just extras?
All extras. We had fit 800 people to be. And the other thing was fun to see all of our people dressed in 1961, and they're all sort of dressed up and colorful. And then the real people that come in today in their shorts and tank tops, which I don't think they would allow you in 1961 in a tank top. Yeah, we didn't have any adults in shorts, just kids.
To me, the most amazing fan photo that came out was when we saw the two groups together, the people in the 60s clothes and the people in the modern day clothes.
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of weird.
Okay.
But it was easy to tell the difference between who was working and who wasn't.
I bet the Disneyland Resort cast members made the process a lot easier.
They were pretty great. They were so helpful when we were there keeping people. They have all the Disney team members.
Yeah, Disney really knows what they're doing with crowd control. One last question. What advice do you have for people who want to become a costume designer?
You have to really want to do it. It's not a glamorous job. It's sort of, we're responsible for everything. When you see a movie, when we did Disneyland, we had to research the ticket takers and the guards and the balloon vendors. So and a lot of movies, there's police, and it all has to be right. So people think it's sort of a fashion-y, glamorous job, but it's really, I like to do characters. So you have to really, I always wanted to be a set designer and costume designer, and studied it in college, and I've only done that.
In the past, you worked on one of my favorite films, The Blind Side.
Mm-hmm. Yes, same director. The interesting thing is Tom, played Langdon in the Da Vinci Code, and Langdon wears a Mickey Mouse watch. It's a script point that he wears, so it was kind of funny, and Tom had given everyone a Mickey Mouse watch as a thank you present after Da Vinci Code, and I kept saying, I've always kept forgetting to put it on.
That's a really fun connection. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us?
No, I loved working on the movie. I loved that it was a little portion of Walt Disney's life, but it told you so much about him.
The film really only showed one side of Walt Disney, and that was almost the public view of Walt Disney, really Uncle Walt. How do you think that Walt Disney changed and evolved through the film?
Well, ours is only a small part, and we only see him at work. We never see him in his casual clothes at home or in Smoke Tree Ranch or golfing. So he's always in a suit. So it's almost is the public Walt. But we learn so much about him and his relationship to the Sherman brothers, who Richard Sherman talks about him so fondly.
How did the company work with the movie? Because I know in the beginning the script was an outside script.
Yes, the script was an outside script. Disney read it and decided, we should either sue or make it. And I guess they decided to make it, and they were very hands-off. And I came with John Lee Hancock, the director. So we were very excited when he sent us the script and said, how does this sound? And it was like, it sounds perfect. Practically perfect.
Thank you very much, Daniel, for your time. Thank you for joining us here on the Disney Dose podcast. I'm Gavin Doyle. And I hope to see you over at DisneyDose.com, where you can find loads of other Saving Mr. Banks information, like a review of the film, 3 things you should do before seeing the movie, as well as photos of some of Daniel Orlandi's costumes. Thank you, and have a magical day. This has been a production of DisneyDose.com.